Hercule Poirot. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I love to talk about books. And it feels like ages since I've sat down and done a video because the past few weeks have been pre-recorded because I was away in Wales last week for the school's October break with my kids and my parents, just having an amazing time at a resort called Bluestone. It's like Centre Parks, but it's cheaper. And we first went a couple of years ago and we absolutely love it, and we were so glad that COVID didn't spoil our plans and we were able to go. We had great weather and it just had a really good time. So look out for some little vloggy bits from that in my October wrap up when I post that. And also on the way home we went through Hay on Wye, which is Wales's book town. It's full of loads of bookshops and I took some vloggy bits there as well, and I've also got a little book haul to share with you from our trip, so look out for that whenever I get it up. Before I get started, I just want to apologise in advance for any bangs or shouts or anything you might hear, because my oldest son is playing computer games online with his friends and it does tend to sound like there's some really angry elephants in his room. I don't normally tend to film at night just because my house can be quite noisy, but I haven't really had a choice this week because work has just been insane and I haven't had time to film. But I really didn't want to miss uploading my usual Saturday video. Hello, if you're new, I post bookish videos every Saturday morning, and so I would really like it if you hit subscribe. But particularly this weekend I didn't want to miss it because it's Dewey's 24-hour readathon and I want to get this video up before all the adventures start. And to avoid having too many TBR videos up, I'm also going to share my November TBR a little bit early with you as well. Before I get to the books, I'm going to wang on a little bit about Dewey, so if you want to skip ahead, if you're only here for the books, the timestamps are as usual in the description below. But I can't just share Dewey's TBR with you without talking about the readathon itself. I absolutely love it. I think this will be my 7th or 8th Dewey's 24-hour readathon, if we count reverse readathons as well. It's just an absolute joy to take part every time. So if you don't know, what is Dewey's? Well, it's probably one of the oldest readathons, and it's a 24-hour readathon where everyone who's taking part across the whole world, no matter what your time zones, we all start and finish at the same time. So for me that is 1 p.m. today as this video goes up, the 24th of October, and then it's right through to 1 p.m. on Sunday. You don't have to read for the full 24 hours, you just read as much as you can. This time around we've got all new hosts, but it's still the same Dewey's fun. So I will post links to the Instagram challenges, I will post a link to the bingo game that's going on, and I will post a link to the Goodreads group where there's always a lot of chat, games, fun, you name it, to keep you going all the way through the readathon. I'm so excited because I've got lucky again and the readathon has fallen on a weekend where my younger two are with their dad until Sunday, so I have no responsibilities. I'm going to attempt to read for the full 24 hours, but seeing as I start at 1 p.m, that is a whole different ballgame to the reverse readathon that happened in August, where I managed to read for like 18 or 19 hours, can't remember, in total, and I've read 3 books from start to finish, a short and part of another book as well. It was my most successful readathon ever, and yeah, I would like to beat that this time, but I'm being cautious. We'll just see how it goes. Although I might regret that when the kids arrive home at 3 o'clock after being with their dad all weekend and I've had like no sleep. So what am I reading? Well, I'm putting aside my current read and just using the readathon to try and clear some of my humongous backlog of NetGalleys. NetGalleys, someone asked me this before, NetGalley is a website where book reviewers can sign up and request review copies of books from publishers as ebooks, which is great. Free books, but it is in return for a review. I will always say when a book is a NetGalley, but really how I've came to obtain a copy of the book doesn't have any influence on my reviews. I'm always totally honest in my reviews. So I picked out some shorter reads just so I've got a variety to choose from, and also so I can feel quite smug about how many books I get to read in their entirety. At least that's the plan. So my first pick is Petals of Rain, A Mother's Memoir by Rica Keenum, and Goodreads says this is 146 pages, but though it be little, I think it's going to be quite heavy. Rica was a young girl from a troubled family when she met quite a charming man, had a whirlwind romance, got married quite quickly, had 2 children, and then their relationship was ripped apart. From the blurb it says that Rica is an abuse survivor emerging and learning to speak, to scream, to sing to her own wounded heart, and to finally understand what it takes to be whole after breaking into pieces. I think this is going to be a tough read, but it does sound like it's going to really speak to me. And then next up I've picked out Act Like You're Having a Good Time by Michele Weldon. So this is a collection of essays, so I'll probably dip into this throughout the readathon, and it's essays on being a mature woman, and it looks at things like ageism and invisibility, lost dreams and failing expectations, white privilege, and mortality. So I'm sure I'll find lots in that collection that will resonate quite strongly with me. Next I've picked All Men Want to Know by Nina Bouraoui, and this is a memoir that's been translated from the French by Aneesa Abbas Higgins. This is Nina's memoir of her childhood in Algeria, both before and during the Civil War. So it stretches from an idyllic childhood in the sunshine to the escalating violence that surrounded them until something horrific happens to her mother and the family flee to Paris, which is where her mum is from. Nina comes of age in Paris in the 80s, and this memoir looks at her discovering her sexuality in the infamous women's only nightclub called the Kathmandu, and also her journey into becoming a writer. So I think this sounds really, really interesting. And then, yes, there are more. I've picked Dear Reader, The Comfort and Joy of Books by Cathy Rentzenbrink. This has been mentioned on a couple of other YouTube channels that I've seen recently, and I'm really excited to get to it. This is a celebration of how books can shape your life. They've always been there for Cathy, from her childhood through tragedy and into her becoming a bookseller and now writing books of her own. So that just sounds the perfect read for a readathon. And then, because I love setting myself goals that I have no hope in hell of reaching, there is one more book, and this is To Be a Man by Nicole Krauss. Now I'm quite nervous about this one. I do get nervous when I've read a book that I absolutely loved by an author and then go on to another piece of work by them, because I absolutely adored, it's here, The History of Love. I read this a couple of years ago and I just thought it was beautiful. So I'm praying that To Be a Man will live up to the high bar that this one set. This is a short story collection about the struggle to understand what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman, and the arising tensions that have existed from the very beginning of time. So we'll see how I get on with that and with all the other books on my Dewey's TBR. I will be vlogging, so check back next week to see how I get on, and if you're taking part, drop me a comment. Let's support each other, and maybe I'll see you doing some Instagram challenges or taking part in some of the fun over on the Goodreads group as well. And now for my November TBR. Are we heading for a book overdose here? I don't think there's any such thing. And there's a book missing off of this TBR because I don't yet know what the Shelterbox Book Club pick will be for November. Voting is still open. I had such a hard time choosing which book to vote for because they were all really good. So whatever one we pick, the other ones are definitely going on my TBR anyway. So the other books on my TBR are all challenge reads. The first of which is not on my Kindle. It's Donna Tartt's The Little Friend. Now this is possibly the oldest book on my shelves. I bought this when my now game playing, shouting banging, crashing around in his room 18-year-old was a baby. I did start this back then, but I DNF'd it. Back then, oh, in fact, is there a book? Oh, there's even a bookmark in here. Well, I say bookmark, it's a scrap of paper, but yeah, you can see I didn't get very far into it. Back then I wasn't reading very much anyway, but I was also floored by new motherhood, so it's not surprising that I didn't make it through this beast. But I've now read Donna Tartt's 2 other books. I think this was her second. Oh yes, it says by the author of The Secret History, so this was her second book. And I've loved The Secret History. I really enjoyed The Goldfinch as well. So it's really time that I get this onto my read shelves rather than gathering dust on my TBR shelves. I'm pretty sure it was a cover buy because this is just such a creepy cover. I absolutely love it. But actually the story sounds really good as well. So this is the story of a family left in purgatory for 12 years after the unsolved murder of a little boy, and this is the story of his very precocious sister who takes it upon herself to solve the crime, aided by her friend. So I think that sounds so interesting. I know I'm in good hands with Donna Tartt, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And next up we have something a little bit different. It's a children's picture book. Now I hardly ever even read YA, so why is there a kids book on my TBR? And this is for a challenge read from the Reading Women Challenge, which is, I forget the exact wording, but I'm sure it's a picture book by a woman of colour. So I have gone with We All Belong, a children's book about diversity, race and empathy, and it's by Nathalie Goss. And apparently it's a flowing, rhyming poem, which is about the only sort of poem that I can get along with. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with my youngest boy, maybe my 8-year-old as well, if he's interested. We'll sit and we'll all read it together. I've got it as a Kindle Unlimited because the book that I'd actually picked for this I was going to get out of the library, and I'm unable to do that at the moment. So I'm dubious about how a picture book will look on a Kindle, but we'll give it a go and see how we get on. And then next up I'm reading Agatha Christie's Taken at the Flood. This is a Hercule Poirot? Oh dear. It's like the most famous detective ever, and I can't pronounce his name. Poirot? Yeah. Anyway, that guy with a moustache. This is my first ever Agatha Christie. I'm not really up on my Christies. I don't even know if I've seen any of the adaptations. Possibly Death on the Nile, but I was a kid at the time, so I have no recollection of it at all. This again is to fill quite a specific reading challenge prompt. I think it's from the Pop Sugar reading challenge, and that was to read a book from a series which has more than 20 books in it. Now regular viewers of this channel will know that I have a bit of an issue with series, and a series with more than 20 books you can just sod off. That's just not my thing. But this is apparently book number 28 in the Poirot series. I hope you don't have to read them in order, otherwise I'm a bit gubbed, aren't I? But from the blurb I don't think that is the case. I happen to have this because it came in a book subscription that my brother got me for my birthday a few years ago now, and you got a vintage book and a different bag of coffee every month, and I have to say I think I like the coffee more than the books, so this has sat on my shelf for quite a while. It is very much a vintage book. Apparently the original cost of this in the UK was 3 6pence, so there we go. When was it published? 1967 this one was published in, so it's a bit of an oldie. It's in quite good condition considering. Maybe no one else ever read it either, but it does sound quite interesting. I am looking forward to it. I'll just read the blurb from Goodreads, and it says: a few weeks after marrying an attractive young widow, Gordon Claude is tragically killed in a bomb blast in the London Blitz. Overnight, the former Miss Underhay finds herself in sole possession of the Claude family fortune. Shortly after, Hercule Poirot I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Poirot receives a visit from the dead man's sister-in-law, who claims she has been warned by spirits that Miss Underhay's first husband is still alive. Poirot has his suspicions when he is asked to find a missing person guided only by the spirit world. Yet what mystifies Poirot most is the woman's true motive for approaching him. So, sounds like there's a lot going on in this, and it's not actually that big, so I should tear through that. And then finally, because my reading has been super slow this month, I know I won't get to Matt Haig's The Midnight Library, so I'm bumping that into November. So I did talk about this already in my October TBR, but I am really looking forward to it. This is the story of Nora, who finds herself in between life and death in this library, which contains an infinite number of shelves, an infinite number of books, and every book is about her. It's all the different twists and turns her life could have taken if she had made different decisions. And that just sounds so fascinating. And I've just seen Matt Haig talk about this on BBC Two's Between the Covers, which is presented by Sarah Cox. And so now I'm even more excited to read it. And on that note, Between the Covers is brilliant. It's a book club show and it's different guests each week. Episode 1 has the amazing, wonderful Sarah Pascoe in it as well, and you can get it on the iPlayer if you're in the UK, so I would definitely recommend that. But that is enough. It's really late here. What time are we on? It's 11:15 at night and I still have to edit and upload this video, but that's okay. I'm gonna go and get myself a hot chocolate and try and plow through it. Oh my god, so tired already. I can't even string a sentence together. But I'm okay with staying up late tonight because I'm going to try and sleep through tomorrow morning so that I can wake up just before the readathon starts. That's never going to happen. I'm like a 7 o'clock in the morning riser, but we'll see. Just so I can be really refreshed and give myself the best chance of getting through the 24 hours. But I guess I should stop whittering on here and go and edit and upload this video. If you're doing Deweys, enjoy it, have the best time, and I will see you next week with my vlog on how I get on. So until then, bye! Hercule Poirot receives a letter